Do you hate bending over the garden as much as I do? Do you wish there was an easier way? Well, let me introduce you to the world of raised beds. In this video, we're going to find out how. So there's a number of advantages to having raised bed gardens, and the number one reason has to be it's a comfortable working height while standing. You can do all your planting, all your picking, all your maintaining, your watering, your prepping of the soil, all that while standing. You're not bending over, you're not getting sore lower back, sore knees. It's just easier on the body. I would say another big advantage is it's easy to get deep soil. Certain vegetables, carrots and things that grow in the ground deeper are going to need deeper soil, and it's pretty easy to do with raised beds. You can put nice compost, nice topsoil, whatever you want in there, and you don't have to worry about rocks, which here in New England, getting good soil in the ground is pretty difficult. There's a lot of rocks. It involves a lot of turning of the soil, tilling, plowing, whatever you're going to do. And it's much easier, in my opinion, to do that in raised beds than to do it in the ground. So I think the last advantage I'm going to talk about for the raised beds is they're easy to transport and move. I say easy, obviously you need some kind of machine or something if you're going to pick them up while they're full of dirt, but if you empty the dirt out, you can move them around. And with a machine, you can move them with the dirt in them, which is nice because you might want to change where your garden is to a sunnier area. Maybe you want to put it closer to your house because you're having issues getting around. You could put these right on your deck, walk out your door 5 feet and have your vegetables right there. Whereas if you have a garden in the ground, you can't do that. There are also a couple of disadvantages to the raised beds, and I think it would only be fair to discuss those. I think the first disadvantage I would mention is it is going to cost money to set these up. Now, for anyone curious, I paid about $30 for each one of these plastic food grade containers, and then the sawmill lumber was free. But if you were to buy something like this, you could easily spend $200 for each one of these containers all set up from somebody. And depending on what kind of containers you have available to you, the prices can vary, but it's definitely going to be more money than if you just, start tilling up some ground and then plant your vegetables right into the ground. So money's probably the number one disadvantage. I think another big disadvantage would be it takes quite a few of these to get, a lot of area. Depending on how big your garden is, obviously, if you're growing a lot of food for multiple people, maybe you sell it at farmers markets or something like that, you're going to need a lot of area, and obviously it would take a ton of these to have enough area to grow a large amount of food. I think these really shine for, single family growing, and we were only growing for a few people, maybe up to 5 or 6 people at a time. If you're growing for any more than that, you'd probably be better off maybe either getting a really big raised bed or switching to in-ground gardening. But they definitely takes a lot of them to get a lot of area, depending on how much you want to grow. I think the last disadvantage I would say, now this is more objective and it's based on your opinion, but certain people really like the look of a nice big rectangle garden. They like seeing the rows of vegetables with a fence around it and maybe a scarecrow or something. It just kind of gives them a nice warm fuzzy feeling inside. So for certain people, they like the look of a traditional garden. So depending on who you are and how you think, you may not like the look of raised beds. So I would say that would be the last disadvantage. Let's go into the shop and I'll show you how I build them and talk a little bit more about the containers. So here we have a finished stand. So this is actually originally a cranberry container. These were used to transport cranberries from the bogs to the factories. Here in Massachusetts, cranberries are a really big deal. We have a lot of bogs in different parts of the state. If you're not familiar with the term, a bog is kind of like a swamp. I believe the real difference is swamps are typically lower than the land surrounding them, whereas bogs are higher up, and I don't believe bogs have any kind of outlet for the water. So they're really designed kind of perfectly for cranberries to grow in. And these containers are about 40 inches by 48 inches, 12 inches deep. They have slots for drainage for the cranberries. And once the cranberry containers get damaged at the factories, which, forklift drivers aren't always the most careful of people, they hit them with the forks, they get damaged, they get cracks, holes, which I'm going to show you in a little bit how to fix that. But once they get damaged, they're really not any good to the cranberry companies. They start losing a lot of product out of those holes and crevices, and it makes a mess in the factories. It becomes dangerous. People could slip on them. It's just not efficient, and it's easier for them just to get rid of them, get new containers. But it works out perfect for guys like me. Once they get on the used market, people scoop them up and use them for other purposes like we're going to do in today's video. The frame is just 2-inch thick rough sawn pine that I sawed down at my mill. For those unfamiliar with the channel, maybe you're new, I have a lot of different videos on sawmilling. I have a Woodland Mills HM130 Max sawmill. I can do up to a 30-inch diameter log, 16 foot 11 inches long with my extension. And I've used it for a lot of projects that I showcase in the channel. And doing stuff like this really can save you a lot of money. I can custom cut whatever I want. And this rough sawn 2-inch is real strong, and it's gonna be perfect for the frames for these planters. Let's get into making them right now.